In this tutorial, I will be sharing how to run gelatin prosthetics in an UltraCal 30 mold. I do have a video on how to make molds. If you'd like to check it out, I will link it below and also in the info cards of this video. I started this process by spraying a release onto my mold on LifeCast. It's super important to use a release so that the gelatin does not stick to the mold and rip while you're moving it. And for this run in particular, I'm using epoxy par film. I sprayed 2 coats to the LifeCast and the mold, allowing each layer to dry in between. For gelatin, you can also use cooking spray or a thin layer of Vaseline as a release. In my experience, cooking spray works really well too. If you do use the Vaseline, it will leave a fine film on your prosthetic. Next, I set up my mold strap. Mold straps can be a bit tricky, so it's best to prep it before so you're not fiddling with it while your hot gelatin is setting. You can pause this video if you'd like to see the correct orientation for threading the strap. I also like to use a piece of wood to add more tension to the mold once it's closed, and here I'm just testing to make sure everything is going to sit nicely. It's time to heat up that gelatin, and the recipe that I'm using today is going to be linked below if you're interested. I recommend this recipe because I do add Prozaid to it, which gives the prosthetic more durability, and it's going to make it last longer once it's applied. And I also use a higher bloom gelatin, which means it will dissolve better and capture more detail. I heat the gelatin up in 30-second increments, checking between each period and stirring gently. For this batch, it took roughly 2 minutes to fully melt the gelatin. And you definitely want to be careful not to burn yourself when you're checking the gelatin. I also like to heat the mold a little bit using a hair dryer. I find this helps the gelatin flow better into the details. Next, I poured the gelatin into the mold, starting in the center of the face and allowing it to flow into the rest of the mold. Then I rocked the mold back and forth slowly to allow the gelatin to cover the rest of the details. At this point, I placed my LifeCast into position and pressed down firmly, allowing the excess gelatin to seep out. Then I strapped the mold, making sure that the tension on the strap was as tight as I possibly could make it. This is really important because it's going to ensure that you get thin edges on your prosthetic. Now you want to wait roughly 30 minutes to an hour for the gelatin to set. After removing the strap and the board, I used baby powder and a brush to release the edges of the gelatin that seeped out. I also like to remove some of that excess gelatin. This is going to help release some of the suction created by the gelatin and make the mold easier to pop open. To pop the mold, I use the strap again and 3 boards. I place the strap around the handle of the LifeCast, then position the boards like a bench. The strap and the boards are going to act as a pulley, so I press the strap down and it gradually loosens the suction. You definitely want to take your time at this step and don't force it. You'll hear a sound as the gelatin releases. It sounds almost like a door opening, and you'll also see your LifeCast start to pop up. Next, I use the brush and powder again to release the prosthetic from the LifeCast. I slowly pull the LifeCast up and then brush the powder into the back of the piece. Again, take your time with this step. Once the LifeCast is released, you can pull off any of the excess gelatin flashing, then start peeling the prosthetic out of the mold. And as you guessed it, you want to make sure to take your time and use the brush and the baby powder to aid in the process. Deeper areas like the nose are going to take a little bit more time to release from the mold, so just be careful not to rip them. And there you have it. After a lot of patience and a lot of baby powder, you have your very own gelatin prosthetic. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to my channel and also like this video. And if you want to check out the other videos I have on how to make a mold and my recipe for gelatin, I will link them below. I will be using these prosthetics in upcoming tutorials. I'll show you how to paint them and apply them, so I do hope you guys check those out. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. Take care and have a great day. Bye!